This video is not PG-13. It is rated mature. There's also slight cutoffs. It's Skype, not me. So I'm here with my friend. We're gonna read Dipper Goes to Taco Bell. I don't know. Okay, let's start. Dipper Goes to Taco Bell. It was a normal day in Gravity Falls, Oregon. Well, as normal as Gravity Falls get, anyways. Dipper Pines was reading his book, and Mabel, his twin sister, was wondering what he was doing. Dipper, are you going to keep your nose buried in a strange book of yours all summer? You gotta go out, have an adventure, Mabel exclaimed. Not now, Dipper said quietly, and trying to decode this. He was looking at a cryptogram that says, Xflack Quicksil you be. Dipper was officially stumped. He could not figure out what it meant, and it seemed very mysterious to him. Grunkle Stan is going to take us to the diner today for lunch, Dipper. Dipper, Mabel exclaimed. Dipper, however, was not in the mood for the diner. He was publicly humiliated the last time he went, and he thought the food was very good anyways. Mabel, I don't want to go to the diner, Dipper said solemnly. I want to go somewhere else, but there isn't really nothing else in the town unless you count Taco Bell near the forest. Taco Bell? Dipper's ears perked up. He had never eaten a Taco Bell before, and ever since last week, he had a craving for Mexican food for some reason.
Why don't we go to Taco Bell today? Dipper asked. Taco Bell? Gurgle Stan questioned.
No, you...
Bathroom when it gets clogged. I had my heart set on pancakes, Mabel moaned. Listen, you can go to Taco Bell if you want to, but don't come crying to me when you smell like expired onions. Fine, I will, Dipper said harshly. Don't let the door hit you on the way out, Grunkle Stan said. But as he was exiting the mystery shack, the door hit him on the way out.
Rip.
Hey. Grunkle Stan. So anyway, Mabel and Grunkle Stan went to the diner while Dipper tried to find his book.
Shit. God damn it. No. Not the lag. I can't hear you. God damn it. Fine. Are you still reading? You left out at line 18.
Talk forest, Dipper asked himself. Do I read it to or?
No wait. You do 20.
Alright. After hiking for about an hour, Dipper finally got to the Taco Bell, but it sure didn't look like any Taco Bell he'd ever seen. It was surrounded by a barrage of giant oak trees in an open field, completely different from the rugged terrain of the Oregon forest. The open field was covered with at least 3 layers of pine needles, which got the attention of Dipper. He stuck his hand in the pine
needles. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm just gonna go ahead and point out. Okay, hold on. Wait, hold on. Wait. As soon as you reach line 47, everything goes completely horrifying.
Yay!
Okay. Ow! Dipper shouted. A pine needle poked him. It hurts. The restaurant, Taco Bell, looked like a silo, sort of. Well, it was very cylindrical. The outside has rusty picnic tables and looked like no one used them at all. Dipper walked up to the restaurant door. Should I go in there? Dipper asked himself. I'm starting to have second thoughts. Why is there a small, desolate Taco Bell in this forest, miles from the nearest road? But I guess it's my only option. Mabel and Grunkle Stan are probably done with lunch right now. And they were. Mabel wondered why Dipper hasn't come back yet, but Grunkle Stan didn't give a damn. So Dipper entered the restaurant, but he was relieved to see the interior was normal, except for its high ceiling. There were also no customers inside, but Dipper thought it was normal, considering how the franchise was so isolated. He went up to the counter. There was only one cashier working the registers. A very old, slightly deaf, bored out of school cashier. Dipper decided what he had wanted to order, then approached the register. Excuse me, we only have tacos! Okay, I guess I'll have a taco then. Diaper said. It's literally said that. Okay.
What did you say? The cashier yelled. I said I want a taco. Dipper yelled back. Okay then, the cashier said. Then went in the back for a few minutes. When he came out, he was carrying Dipper's taco. It'll be $1, the cashier said. Dipper gave him the money and went to sit down at the least grimiest table. He with thanks for your meat, mild to the lemon fluffy and the sour cream. But he enjoyed the single bite of that perfectly cooked taco and still tasted it in his mouth after he swallowed it. But as he was about to bite into it the second time, he felt a trying movement inside his body. Something felt they rushed to the laboratory. Man, that really went through me, Dipper said to himself. For some reason, far from the table, he found that the bathrooms were surprisingly clean for a past professional anyway. And Dipper found this suspicious. After all the stalls were full and no one was using the urinals.
But right on cue, someone walked out on one of the stalls. Dipper didn't pay much attention to who was walking out, but he was wearing all black and had a plastic bag with him. Dipper just had to go. Unfortunately, he didn't make it in time. He checked his pants and found the worst of all. Diarrhea, Dipper said. Yeeg. Or should I say yee? He was about to leave the stall when he noticed a bullet in his pants. He touched the bullet, and once he touched it, he knew exactly what it was. It was an erection. Alright. He found completely aroused after touching it and started doing some more. Eventually, he was ready to hardcore masturbate. He didn't know what was arousing him, but he knew he was aroused. He took off his blue shorts and his soiled underwear, revealing his medium-sized but not small penis. His tip was bright and red like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Dipper started to yank his Johnson faster and harder and faster. The 5-incher was getting pumped. Dipper's soiled hand started to feel bits of pre-cum on his dry fingers. Eventually, the medium-sized dick couldn't take it anymore and burst in an explosion of cum. The cum got all of the walls and toilet, and Dipper felt proud. He had creamed himself for the first time, but he was upset that it was not over Wendy. No, Dipper thought. All this is not enough for me. I need to release all of this.
When this erection still acting. It was a very the last time, and it began to rain Dipper's seed. Dipper felt more proud than the last time. His heart about to burst from all the droplets of cum falling down from the ceiling. He felt as happy as he felt on the day of the first snowfall of the year. He stuck out his tongue to taste the cum, shutting from the faulty fluorescent lighting in the bathroom. He tasted it and he thought it was one of the best tasting things. A bar. Better than the rarest pig and better than the taco he was having earlier. Why? Just why?
Oh, please.
Stop. He couldn't leave now amidst all the critics. He wanted to taste he squeezed a handful of it off the side, but it was dirty wet though. He grabbed another and another. He was getting more aroused by consuming the cum and released another load. And that's where it took. Dipper came up with a solution to get more hardcore adult observation experience. He was going to put it into an action. Oh my god. He tilted his head down onto the cum-covered ground, grabbed his hardened trunks and stuck it in his mouth. Once eternally threw it in and stuck on the very hard rock.
Oh my god, wait, hold on. I'm just gonna say something. Once in my entire life sucked my own dick. That was once in my entire life.
Huh. I mean, it's your experience, so I mean, good for you. He smacked on it like a lollipop and got in the county for a while back. It tastes a lot like it too. But legs are so expertly over his shoulders that he could have been a gymnast. The more he sucked it, the more aroused. I can't read this correctly.
Oh my god. Eventually, this one he was going to give out. He came in his mouth. It was the best thing he ever experienced and kept on performing. Fell out to himself. As he was stimulating himself orally, he accidentally fell over to his side. He broke from his penis and cummed on the floor. The floor was so covered in so much of different cum that he started to make a snow angel in the cum, or a cum angel. Oh my god. He was eating some in the process, but then he looked to his side and immediately came so hard that the red tip was touching his short pubic hair. He saw what was causing it. He saw his underwear covered in dark brown feces. He held up his underwear, which was covered in the cum-filled floor, and marveled at its erotic beauty. The feces were so beautifully ejaculated, so smooth in its sticky brownness, so perfectly they felt in Dipper's right hand. He wanted his shit. He held the brown underwear like a flash on a lure, and put his sticky white lips onto the sticky brown feces. His tongue was rubbing the crap all over his tiny weights, making his mouth all a brownish white mess. He was biting into the shit and sucked it into his mouth. It was more stimulating than ever before. He now knew that he didn't need Wendy or Mabel or any of the other girls in Gravity Falls. All he needed was a big pile of his shit. He took a scoop of his feces. He had a lot of diarrhea and began to spread it over his dick. Every time he spread the crap, he was getting more and more aroused. Once his dick was completely brown, he came again.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. You can do it. You can read
In
it.
the stall that weren't covered in different cum once again. Wait, read which sentence? Wait. Which sentence? I wasn't reading.
Oh my god.
Wait.
Okay, which line are we on? Which line are we on?
Are we on 70?
Yeah, we're on 71.
Covered in different cum. Once again, different human orange gulls. Now I've never had to put the breast to keep over his penis and boy. The brown stuff was all over his external genitals and testicles. Here and there. Now his beautiful brown genitals needed to be cleaned, but Dimmer didn't have any cleaning supplies.
Oh my god. If anybody animates this, I swear to god. God.
You were telling me the most money ever had in that bathroom stall. Forgot who he was, where he lived, where he was, or what he was eating. All that was on his mind was a streak. He just thought of a great idea. Dipper took a scoop in the toilet. He flushed it, but before it all went the way down, he grabbed the wet bottle of shake and put it in his mouth. Oh my god! Dipper was doing all of this shit. It was in the water, and it tasted great. He kept on doing it for God knows how long. And the time, he hit his head against the toilet rim. Dipper's brain must have been knocked out of place at that time, because this time, instead of putting the shake up his food hole, he started to read this. I just can't.
Oh my god. Okay. He wanted more of his Johnson, but that would be a fatal mistake. Once it was covered again, he put it in his mouth and began sucking, but he did it too hard. As he was sucking and coming, he accidentally bit on his dick. As soon as he tasted blood, he broke out of coitus and saw his lacerated penis. He saw a mix of blood and cum coming out of it, like a lava, and his erectile muscle pointing out. Dipper grabbed it and grimaced in pain. He winced at it and looked horrified. He snapped out of it all and tried to figure out a solution to the castration. However you pronounce it. Castration. He put some more diarrhea and cum on it, but that didn't stop the bleeding. Dipper spit out the piece of dick he bit out and tried to reapply it, but it didn't work. No matter how many times he tried to reattach it, they all failed. He put more of his reproductive fluids on the castration, but it only made the penis swell up like the Goodyear blimp. What is going on?
I don't know anymore.
There's 208 lines in this. So we're going.
I can't read any more of this, man.
Oh my god. You can do it. After we get through this, you are an amazing human. Oh my god.
Oh god. Alright. Let's do this.
Yes, we do it together.
Alright. What line is it?
It's exactly 208 lines long.
Wait. Oh, we're on 91, sorry. Alright.
Oh my god.
He was not. Wait. He was licking the blood off to try to stop it, but the blood was flowing faster than he could lick. He was now in ultimate pain and felt nothing like this. He screamed as loud as he could and felt like no one could hear him. He was screaming louder and louder, saying, "Help, I'm
Oh my god, what's going on?
Really? He was going insane. He started to bang against the stall, screaming, held as loud as he could yell. After a full 5 minutes with a large pieces on the floor, he was banging his head against the stall. Oh, getting concussion, honey. Oh my god, you're going through puberty?
No, I'm not. I'm just using a voice changer.
I don't have one. Alright. The banging was louder than the loudest thunderstorm, and yet no one came for help. Dipper was alone in the... No! Your death. After one final blow to the head, and now screaming Dipper, it was as silent as Christmas Eve. What? He fell to the floor. He fell to the floor. Eyes turned skyward and fell in a mix of his own blood. At the mystery shack, Mabel was feeling very worried about Dipper, so she went off to try to find him. She went off into the forest first. She knew where it was, and surprising.
I don't know.
Time than Dipper. As she entered the newly cleaned doors, she immediately noticed the once-been taco on one of the tables, and immediately knew it was Dipper's. Mabel rushed into the main bathroom. She liked it. And rushed into random stalls. It was her brother's.
Mabel looked at how messy the stall was and how it used to do the deed. Her pink sweater sneakers were sticky from sitting into the reddish-brown mess of fluids. She walked around the messy stall for a bit, but then saw the most horrid sight she could imagine. Dipper's corpse. Mabel welled up in tears at the sight of it and began to cry. She was crying. She sat down in a pile of the blood, feasted and cum, and looked at Dipper's lifeless face. It was beautiful, as his smooth facial features complemented the circle of cum around his lips. "Oh, Dipper," Mabel said through his tears, "let me clean the white stuff off your lips." That's what I called it when I was young. Mabel brought Dipper's head up to hers, and she kissed him. After pulling out the kiss, Mabel enjoyed it, and so she kissed him again. She didn't want to let go of Dipper. Not now. Not when he had just died. He was her brother after all.
She held Dipper's naked corpse in her arms, and she felt a tingling feeling in herself, a secret dirty side. No one would care if we just did it, right? He is dead, and no one would know in this restroom stall, Mabel thought. She immediately came up with an answer. She pulled Dipper's head up to her head and kissed him again. Only it was a French kiss. Ew! What's necrophiliac? Once Mabel was done, she got down on the floor, covered frenzy with Dipper, made it look like Dipper was alive. Tongue blinded Dipper's deceased mouth, scraping the pieces of her lips with Dipper's. Mabel was shaking even more now, and her tongue was touching Dipper's. She unzipped her jeans, slowly slid them off, and then threw them at the wall. They stuck there from the up. Mabel revealed her nice clean, exposed version of Dipper's corpse, not noticed. Brought it closer to the surface. Dear God! She rubbed her fingers for arousal purposes before she suffocated. Once the thing was firmly, she finally felt joy in her life.
No, wait,
She
hold on.
loves the feeling.
Oh, wait, hold on. Which were... Oh, okay, never mind.
We're on 119. She loves the feeling of losing it in her dead feeling. Lost it.
So, okay. She squealed in happiness and started to French kiss Dipper harder. Her tongue almost touched Dipper's uvula. She kept holding onto his lacerated dick in her vagina and sloshing her tongue all around Dipper's mouth. She kept pulling in and out with Dipper's stick. Blood was getting on her urethra walls, not noticing one bit. She did not want to leave the body, not now. She would kill herself, and it could mean they've been, coitus forever. If only Dipper could kiss her back. Yes. If only Dipper could kiss her back. After what seemed like hours, it wouldn't fit in. Mabel finally looked down at the now pretty messed up penis. Mabel couldn't look away from it. It was now swollen to the size of her head, a whole mix of rainbow colors, and still spewing lifeless cum. Mabel vomited on it, which only made it worse. It grew bigger and bigger. Oh, Dipper, she said softly. Then Mabel started to scream.
She was horrified at the sight of it and started to barf again. She tried to put blood, cum, vomit, and feces on the lake. It didn't work. She tried to suck it all off and found herself enjoying the sucking and the taste of Dipper's penis's blood. She kept on sucking on it, tasting the blood, and touching and fondling Dipper's dead erectile muscle. She was ecstatic. She was more happy than she had ever been, more happy than she was before. As she was squealing with delight, the stall door started to open a crack. Mabel took notice of this. Huh? She asked. The door started to open more. Mabel started to get nervous. She didn't want to go to jail for necrophilia. She was only a child.
Yes.
Literally.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait.
She got too ahead of herself. After lusting after her twin brother for so long, it was if it was the police, she had no hope. She hoped it was just another Taco Bell employee who would listen to her and help her out. The stall door finally burst open. Standing in front was a man dressed in black. He had a Taco Bell logo sewn on the left of his fleece jacket. He was wearing squeaky shoes that squeaked across the black bathroom floor. He was wearing dark sunglasses. The two of them slowly. Mabel stood up on her feet, fear and blood on her face. The man stared at Mabel for a long time, and he finally said, "Are you supposed to be in this bathroom, young lady?" Mabel was shaking in horror now. She turned to face Dipper's naked and violated dead body, and turned to face the man again.
Oh, wait, hold on.
141.
Mister, I didn't intend to do this to brother, Mabel said, shaking with tears in her eyes. The man brought himself closer to Mabel's face. Sir, you're in my personal space. Mabel trying to manage. Man was suspecting the red spot on Mabel's cheek. After several seconds, the man touched the spot, trailed his finger in it, and put the finger in his mouth. Blood. The man whispered to himself. What did you say, sir? Mabel asked him, not understand what he was saying. Little girl, do you know what that is on your cheek? The man said. Mabel repeated what the mysterious man did to her cheek and said back to him, It's blood. And with the blood being on your cheek, haven't you developed, shall we say, a desired taste for it? Mabel, the man asked back. Mabel did not notice the retractable chest on his right hand. Yes, it didn't mean to. I just.
The man quieted her. If you like the addicting taste of it, why didn't you say so? And without warning, the man cut her across the chest with a chisel. She screamed at the pain of it. Blood started to pour out of the diagonal cut fast, almost covering her stomach. You can look that up. Your blood probably tastes better than that, kids, the man said, pointing. She screamed again, louder this time. Now you can get the blood close to your face. It just makes sure you're silent. The man then slit her across the neck. She could not scream this time. The man went into her neck and pulled out 3 vocal cords. Jesus. The man stretched the cords out, and he jumped rope with them, while slashing Mabel across the face several times. When her face was cut so many times that her nose fell off, the man decided it was time for the scalping. He took out a bigger, uh, he took out a bigger knife.
Yes.
The man gripped the knife's handle still in her face and began to make a deep cut. The man put all his strength into it because he decided to make the hardest part first. He tried to do it right on the skin, but sadly did not do the job he liked. Mabel's head was now topless, the top of her skull exposed and violently cut, so that she could see her brain inside the skull.
Pieces of muscle and flesh were still attached to Mabel's hairy scalp, so the man cut them off. The scalp was now thin as skin and still full of Mabel's hair. He hung the scalp on the whore on the door. It was to be his prize, something he kept for himself. Now the man prepared for the rest of the body. What he wanted to do next was to make it rain. Not water as you may think. He wanted to raid something else. He got down to Mabel's blood-covered slashed chest, grabbed her not fully developed wrist, and began to cut off Mabel's nipples. Oh my god, once he was done, the blood started to come out like Old Faithful geyser. He was amazed by the sight of the fountain of blood and began to dance around with the stall, stepping in all of the fluids that were on the floor. When the blood was starting to flow a little less slowly, the man moved on to the legs. The man hugged Mabel's nipples next to the skull. The nips were his prize too, and started to cut Mabel's legs. He started to cut faster than a race car driver on a smooth asphalt track. Cuts kept on appearing on her kneecaps until the capon was exposed. By that time, her lower legs and her body were only attached by a thin string of cartilage. Then the guy moved on to her toes with a knife as sharp as I almost said Skype. As knife, he cut every one of their little toes off. Mabel's body was losing so much blood that she started to flatten out. The place where it was mostly coming out of was her toes. The whole blood was making a sea of red on the floor. The man, now his Taco Bell fleece jacket splattered with red on it, now dug the knife into Mabel's left foot. He began to make another cut similar to what he did to his scalp, and began to cut the skin off of the foot. The cut was much better than what he did to the scalp.
He did the same to the other foot, and then hung the skin up next to the scalp. Mabel's feet were now just a big mess of flesh, muscle, blood, and nerves. Mabel, who was still alive, face was now completely exposed to all cuts she was getting, her mouth hanging open like a gaping person. The blood was already covering her chest, and since the man had a soul, he didn't want to subject the little girl to misery. She was chest where her heart was. Blood poured out of it more than her cut off nipples did. Once most of the blood was done spewing, the man got near Mabel's vagina. He carefully took his knife, got down near the stairs, and stuck the knife blade up the hole. While in Mabel's cot, he was rotating the knife, cutting up the walls of Mabel's egg chamber. The tip of it got finally inside, and very carefully snipped every. It was a hard job. He had to be very careful. He had done it many times before, but today wasn't his best day. He accidentally slit some of the sides and Mabel forgot. He was flipping around, and then he was very embarrassed. Shit, hopefully no one will notice that. He said to himself. He took the knife and Mabel's hold over. Oh shit, my mom's here, I guess.
Oh shit.
My mom's up beside the door. I'm gonna stop reading for a minute.
Oh, my turn.
Oh wait, 178. He said to himself. He took the knife out of Mabel's hold and, with over his two Philippians on the blood-covered blade, and then got out of the big plastic trash bag and scraped the knife on it, making the contacts of it go into the bag. Since this knife's handle was covered in more blood than it usually was, he accidentally let it slip, and it dug into Mabel's right shoulder.
Perfect, the man said ominously. The man got out a pair of vinyl gloves and put them on his hands. He gripped the knife tightly, one than he had after. Oh, wait, hold on. Once this man saw the job he did, he threw the arm in his trash bag. He felt great pride and felt that he could easily achieve his goal now. So he went to the other side of Mabel's nearly skinned body and began to cut that arm off. It was easier to do than the other one, surprisingly, and once he was done with that, he threw that arm into the garbage bag. Mabel's body was now almost flat due to all the blood loss. The man tasted some of it and thought he could get a jar for later. Now for the legs. The man did the same with her legs, and they felt like they were getting easier to cut off from each time. The legs were off. The man threw them in the bag. Mabel's body was flat now. Almost all the blood from her body was gone. Embracing Mabel's dismembered body, he hugged it, licked the remaining blood off, and put the body in the bag. The man now just noticed it on the floor and figured he must have caused this on the walls.
Another one couldn't hurt, the man said to himself and started to cut off Dipper's appendages. When he did it the same order in the same manner as Mabel's, it was done quickly. Now it was time to clean up. I could imagine the bathroom was still a big mess of food. The man got out a big chisel and started chiseling some off the walls and into the bag. It took a long while, about 2 or 3 hours. Once it was done, he needed to clean the floor, so he went outside the stall and got a mop that he had with him the whole time. He mopped the whole mess of things up off the floor and into the bag, until the floors and walls looked respectable, for a fast food bathroom anyway. And then got out some toilet cleaner and cleaned the toilet because it was now more messier than the stall itself. After as a new car. It smelled like it too, okay? The man left the bathroom and the stall waited, ready for its next victim. The man got out of the bathroom and went into the back of the kitchen of the Taco Bell. He got near a machine. It was an odd-looking machine. It had a crank on the side, a funnel on the top, and something shaped like a taco on the side near a conveyor belt.
Final lines. Why do I have to do everything myself? The man questioned. He hung up his blood-stained jacket and sunglasses, revealing his Taco Bell employee uniform. It was spotless. The man took the bag and one by one started to put the body into the funnel. Once the bag was half empty, he kept putting more parts in. Only this time, he turned the crank. Once the bag was empty, out popped 2 tacos. They weren't really tacos. They were actually human body parts in the shape of tacos. They went to the conveyor belt, and the employee, using spray cans, began to spray paint the body parts. Once they got to the taco tissue paper at the end of the conveyor belt, they looked like genuine tacos. The man grabbed one of the, quote, tacos, end quote, wrapped it in tissue paper, and went to the front of the counter. He handed it to the old man cashier, then went back into the depths of the kitchen. "Here's your taco, sir!" The cashier said to the fat customer. "You're welcome," Sue said, handing the cashier the money.
Oh no.
Oh my god. Oh my. It hurts to live. It hurts to live. Oh my god. Oh, well then. That was a fun ride, everybody. I hope you liked that video. I don't know what's going on. Do whatever you want. Check out the original one in the description. I don't know. We are now officially scarred for life.
Yeah.
See you later.